Hey, it's Kesha. Welcome and welcome back. Coming to you with a different background with a different type of message today. So things have been a little hectic lately, and not that this video will date itself because by the time you see it, whenever you see it, things might have been hectic where you are then too. So I think this will work for all times. um, but yeah, so I noticed this week with me, like things got a little bit hectic, and there was a moment where I could not tell if I was coming or going, and what it was in that moment that I needed. And so what ended up happening was I got a cold compress, put that on my neck, put it on my eyes, whatever, and I felt better. But it occurred to me that in those moments where you've got unexpected and extreme, maybe panic or anxiety or just like, what the, you know, it might be a good idea to have a handy dandy list of 4 to 5 quick and easy things that you can do immediately when you find yourself in that kind of trouble. And they're quick and easy, readily accessible. And the whole point of them is to give you just a bit of a break so that you can then really breathe, assess the situation, and figure out what you truly need and then how to take your next step forward. So I made a little list for myself and I'll share it with you. First thing on my list, drink water. Now, I have been practicing drinking more water as of late, and so I'm already kind of drinking more than usual, which is a good thing. But the reason I put drinking water on the list and I put it first, that was specific, is because, I think at this point we all know that hunger can oftentimes thirst can be mistaken for hunger. And you know how you get hangry and you get, irritable and you think you're hungry, and if you just eat, you'll feel better. I think sometimes when we get in those moments where we were just hit with something unexpected, there are a couple of reasons. One, we need some water because we probably haven't had any, and we might be on that verge of dehydration and not recognize it. Another reason to drink water is because when we're hit with something, the tendency is to kind of stop for a moment and it gets stuck in us. But if we drink water, we're keeping everything fluid, we're keeping everything moving, which is what we want. We want to be able to move through the situation we just found ourselves in. And then sometimes too, that act of moving from the space you're in and going to get water is gives you enough of a break. So drink water first and foremost. The second thing, and I've noticed this in the course of the last couple of weeks, I do other videos. I do the video on Sunday nights where we're reading the Aquarian. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we're reading a book. This current time frame we're reading Prosperity's 10 Commandments. At any rate, at the beginning of each of those videos, we do a quick centering meditation, right? It's usually 1 to 2 minutes. And what I have found, if I miss my morning meditation, but then I film a video later in the day and I stop and do that 1 to 2 minutes, just that is enough to reset the course of my day and make me feel better. So I would recommend that to you. And the part of the practice that is the most important, I think, is simply the stopping, closing your eyes, and taking 2 to 3 deep breaths. So let's just try that right now, right? I want you to close your eyes and then just take 2 to 3 deep breaths. All right. So even in just that moment, you can probably feel the shift that's happened. One of the things that I think is so impressive about just that small act is that generally, our eyes are open and we're moving forward. Our heads are in the thing that we're doing. Or if we're in conversation, it's always moving forward. When you close your eyes, you can't help but come back. And then when you take that first breath, you begin to collect your energy and bring it back into yourself. Even without me giving you the instruction, breathe and collect all of your energy and call back all of your power. Something about closing your eyes and taking those deep breaths brings you back into the center of yourself, which is where you need to be if you got knocked off center by something stupid that's happened, right? So yeah, just take a second, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Does not mean you have to start to tell yourself you're okay, or any of the positive self-talk that we would eventually get to, just the act alone of closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths is enough to bring you back into center and then give you a space of power to work from to move forward. The next thing is, wherever you were when that thing happened, get up and move to another space, right? Change the view of your environment. Yes, that'll begin to help shift your perspective, but just the act of getting up and moving to another space, you're now not in the same space where you had just been attacked or where you were hit with something unexpected. So just moving to another location can be helpful, whether you take a step outside, just move to the bedroom or whatever. Just get up and move from a space where you were when the thing happened and move somewhere else to begin to think, okay, I can get this different perspective. Again, that's why getting up and getting a glass of water is so important. Another benefit of that glass of water, that first step. Another thing, if it was at work, because we tend to get thrown off more at work than we do in our personal lives, but whatever. In addition to moving physically from where you are in that moment to another space, stretch. And I'm not saying do a full-on yoga routine. I'm just saying, if you were sitting down, stand up, stretch your arms up, move to the side to side. Any kind of movement of the body is going to be helpful when you've been hit with something unexpected. Again, going back to that idea of we tend to hold stress in the body as soon as we're hit with it. Drinking water will keep it moving. Moving will also help keep it moving from getting stuck in different parts of the body. One of the healing techniques that I practice is sujok, and it has to do with rolling a tool over either the fingers or the toes. And what I found so often in working on myself and in other people is that those pockets of pain that we encounter in the middle of that practice, when we find it and then hold on to it, and I ask myself or my client to breathe through it, they can feel it beginning to break up and release. And what's happened is you were hit by something unexpected and traumatic, right? Trauma at varying levels. And it got stuck somewhere in the body. And over time, the dust of that trauma begins to collect, and it creates the blocks that keep us from experiencing life greater. When you begin to move, just like if you start a yoga practice, you begin to move and shift those blocks around. And that's why sometimes you can be on the yoga mat and then burst into tears, and then you feel like this huge release. Not just because tears are chemicals and that's a release, but also because you've tapped into a spot of pain and opened it up and released it, and it's come out in the way of tears. When you're hit with something unexpected, get up and stretch. And again, I'm not saying do a full-on hour and a half Ashtanga yoga practice, just stretching your arms, moving your shoulders back. Anything you can do to move the body is helpful. And you'll also notice too, like you'll have to breathe bigger. That's that first step to reconnecting with your energy and becoming greater than the problem that you've just been encountered with, right? You can't solve a problem at the level at which it's been created. You're going to have to grow bigger to do that. And that's what that movement allows for. The next thing, in all of these, right, they're super simple and almost so simple as to not even need to be mentioned. But I'm telling you, when you're in the middle of something, what is simple and obvious might not be. And that's why it's a good idea to have that little list, right? So the next one on the list is to smile. And as silly as that might sound, two ideas can't exist in the same space at the same time, right? So if you have been upset by something, if you can think to smile, that's going to release a flood of positive chemicals in the body. And you will be lighter because of it. And again, that's you growing your energy bigger to be bigger than the problem that you've just encountered. And I'm just going to do this right quick with let's do this together. Let's just smile. A real and true, authentic smile from the feet to the top of the head, right? Like just, yeah. And if a little laughter comes out, that's even better, right? That's when you tapped into it deep. Again, these are all super, super simple. But if you're in that moment and you get caught, what's simple and obvious might not be. And so having that little list handy, available on your phone, whatever, again, it'll give you just those few extra beats to really begin to step, before you can begin to step back and assess where you are. I hope this has been valuable and helpful. Leave me comments below. What are some other things you would add to the list? I was mentioning this to a friend earlier this morning, and she asked if I was going to write this out for people and laminate it. And I said for her, I certainly would. But I would also recommend, leaving space for something new to come up, because, you guys might have something else that I hadn't thought about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what quick and easy tips you can do along these lines that can help begin to shift your energy and not be so overwhelmed by the world that can frankly be too overwhelming at times. Alrighty, my friends, I will be back at some point, and I will love you in the meantime. Bye.